Welcome to another edition of the Abrams Boxing Show. I'm Mark Abrams. We have a big show for you again this week. A lot of news, a lot of reviews from last week. A big PBC on Amazon Prime card to talk about as well. In fact, one of the fighters that will be on the card, Kyrone Davis, will join us later in the show. So we'll get right down to all the last week reviews. Eduardo Nunez won the IBF Junior Lightweight Championship with a 12-round unanimous decision over Masanori Rikishi. That took place in Yokohama, Japan over the weekend. Actually, there was a midweek fight. Love those midweek fights. They come on so early in the morning. I don't know if it's Wednesday, Tuesdays, or Wednesday in Japan, Tuesday nights. It's all I know is I was up at like 5 a.m. watching the fight. Anyway, Nunez won by scores of 117, 111, 116, 112, 115, 113. A couple of those scores a little too close for comfort. I thought Nunez, who's now 29-1 with 28 knockouts, won pretty comfortably in that fight. Obviously, fighting on the road in Japan. Rikishi probably got a few bonus rounds in there. But Nunez, like you say, is 29-1, 28 knockouts. Anthony Kakachi, I think, vacated his belt rather than fight Nunez. So Nunez is the new IBF 130-pound world championship. Also on the card, Yoshiki Takai went to 11-0 with 9 knockouts as he impressively kept his WBO Bantamweight Championship with a first-round stoppage over Yatapong Tongdi. Tongdi now 15-1, 9 knockouts, 207 around one. He dropped the challenger 3 times in 120 seconds, and the fight was over. So impressive performance from the WBO Bantamweight champion Yoshiki Takai. Last Saturday in Glasgow, Scotland, Iko Esselman went to 22-1 with 8 knockouts. He scored the biggest win of his career as he won a 12-round unanimous decision over former unified champion Josh Taylor in Taylor's home country. Scores were 117, 112, 116, 113, 115, 113 for Esselman, who now is going to get a big fight in the welterweight division as he beat the former unified champion, 140 pounds. This was to be the debut at 147 for Taylor. But I think the second of the fight, maybe we saw some of the tread on the tires start to come to fruition on Taylor. As he's been, although he's only had 22 fights now, 19-3. He's been in some rough fights, so we'll see what Josh Taylor decides to do going forward if he wants to continue his career at the highest levels. He's probably have to come on a B-side against somebody. He's got a big enough name where he'll be able to attract opponents, and people probably think he's vulnerable now. IBF featherweight champion Angelo Leo kept his championship with a 12-round decision, majority decision over Tomoki Kameda. Kameda now 42-5, 23 knockouts. Leo 26-1, 12 knockouts. What are the scores here? Scores were 116, 112, 115, 113, and 114, 114 for Angelo Leo, who took his show on the road and got away with the victory to defend his title. His first defense since defeating Luis Alberto Lopez last year. And, like I said, a good win for Angelo Leo on the road. In front of a stadium crowd in Doncaster, England, WBO female lightweight champion Terry Harper went to 17-2 as she won a 10-round unanimous decision over Natalie Zimmerman to retain her belt. Scores were 99-91 on all cards. Harper, after the fight, wanted to fight the WBC champion Caroline Dubois, which would probably be a big fight over there in England. So we'll see in the next couple months if Dubois and Harper mix it up for a unification fight. Filipino southpaw Pedro Talduran went to 18-4-1 with 13 knockouts. He retained his IBF middleweight championship with a split decision over Ginjo Shigioka in a real rough bout in Japan. The scores were 115, 113, 118, 110 for for Ted Doran, and 151 third for Shigeoka, 115, 113, 118, 110 for the champion Pedro Ted Doran. And after the fight, Shigeoka fell and collapsed in his corner, and they rushed him out of the ring. Always a scary situation, and turned out he has a subdural hematoma. They had emergency surgery, and we're hoping for the best for Shigeoka. Thoughts and prayers with 15 rounds and the boxing hour. It was a terrific fight that happened over the weekend in Japan. See here. Next up, we have what we also look at last Thursday night in Hollywood. Last Thursday night in Hollywood, Johnny Mansour went to 5-0 with 2 knockouts. He defeated Christian Avalos 60-54 on a DAZN card from Hollywood, California. This week, the biggest card this week takes place in Las Vegas, live on Amazon Prime, PBC on Prime. Former champion and WBA interim super middleweight champion Caleb Plant, 23-2, 14 knockouts, takes on Jose Armando Resendiz, 15-2, 11 knockouts. Co-feature sees Jamal Charlo getting back in the ring, 33-0, 22 knockouts, takes on Cornflake Thomas Lamana, 39-5-1, 16 knockouts. Yon Lee Hernandez, 7-0, 7 knockouts, takes on Kyrone Davis, 19-3-1, 6 knockouts. Plus Isaac Lucero, 16-0, 12 knockouts, takes on Omar Valenzuela, 23-0, 20 knockouts. A couple of those fights very evenly matched, and I think it stands for an entertaining night of boxing in Las Vegas, live on Amazon Prime, the PBC on Prime series. And we actually had a chance to speak to one of the main fighters in that main card, Kyrone Davis, who's taken on the undefeated Cuban, Yon Lee Hernandez, sat down for a few minutes with us. And
Now join me on the line is Kyrone Davis, who takes on Yonil Hernandez on May the 31st on PBC on Prime, live from Las Vegas. Kyrone, how you doing?
How you doing?
Doing good. So as we tape this, we're about 9 days away from the fight. What are your thoughts?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling prepared. I'm feeling motivated, and I'm ready to get the show on the road.
You're a guy. I guess the kids say today. They talk about getting all the smoke. Well, you're not a guy who shies away from it. We fought a lot of undefeated guys earlier in your career. A few fights back, it's Benavidez. Last fight, they feed you a guy in Elijah Garcia, who they were promoting to a young fighter to possibly be a world champion, and then I mean you take the challenges. This kid Hernandez, he's 7-0 with 7 knockouts. You're one of those guys. You say a fight, you just say when and where, correct?
You got it.
And how much, obviously, of course.
You got it.
So talk about Hernandez, the Cuban, 7-0, 7 knockouts.
Um, I think he's gonna be a good competitor. I think he's gonna be ready for the task, and I think that it should be a good fight.
How much? I want to go back to the Benavidez fight. He's a guy, a much bigger guy than you. He's a guy who's, even though he had just kind of moved up to 175 in his last couple fights, he's even big at 175. You're a fighter who's fought as low as 154 pounds. But even though the result wasn't what he was, you hung in there and gave a pretty good account of yourself. Was that a fight, even though it was a loss and a stoppage loss? Is that a fight that kind of gave you some extra confidence?
Um, I don't. I wouldn't say like gave me any extra confidence because I'm always confident. That's why I will even get in the ring with somebody like that for in 16-day notice. I just have that kind of personality. The Anthony Durrell fight, I think maybe gave me my most confidence because it was a crossroads fight for me. It was something that I needed, and it put me in a place where I was now known in boxing. And it was a fight that I won, but they gave me a draw, and everybody thought that I won, and it showed everybody and myself that I belong. So I think that even that fight more so generated a lot more confidence for me.
And even the last fight, Garcia, like I mentioned before, he was the guy. He was undefeated coming in, been on the A side on some big events, and you kind of derailed his plans. Talk about what happened in your last fight with Garcia.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I knew I was gonna beat him. I watched him. I knew I was gonna beat him. I don't know what fight it was, but I was watching him, and I sent a text message to the guys at PBC like, "Can we get this?" I knew that I was gonna. And you actually the first person I ever told that. But yeah, I wanted the fight. We got the fight. They talked him up, but it's good when they talk him down because then you can break him down. So I mean, you talk him up because then you can break him down. So it's not no big deal to me. They can say what they want to say because the critics can't fight for you. The media can't fight for you. Nobody can fight for you except for yourself. So that's what I'm focused on. What's happens inside the ring. I don't care about no glossy records because the thing about this boxing game is your record ain't really your record. You can walk around act like you 30-0 if you want to, but if you haven't fought nobody, you ain't really 30-0. You can sit here and have this great record and all knockouts, and you can be this. If it is all depending on who you fighting. You ain't fight me. You didn't fight me 10 times and beat me 10 times. So your record really means nothing, especially in boxing where you can pad your record.
It's fine. My next question was a combination of a couple of things you said. You talk about, you calling the PBC people, and you talk about fighting everyone. You've been one of the real constants on the PBC boxing series over the past, 6, 7 years. Like you said, you took that fight against Benavidez on 16 days' notice, fighting Garcia, fighting a guy 7-0 with 7 knockouts. Some of the guys you fought earlier in your career, Marcos Hernandez at one point was undefeated, still a good fighter. Some of these guys you have fought and beat. Where did that mindset come from? Especially when you see a lot of guys today, they're looking for reasons not to fight. It looks like you're looking for reasons to fight.
That's a good question. You know what? I was 10-0 once. And I took a loss. It was a close fight. I thought that I pulled it out, but I lost, and it changed me, put me in a different kind of mindset. It was very depressing to lose the very first time, and it put me in a different kind of mindset. A few years later, I lose again, and this time it was all my fault because it was a fight that I could have won. Rest in peace to Patrick Day. But outside the ring, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I made weight late, and I did everything wrong outside the ring. And I got in the ring and I paid for it. Um, I've learned that your losses make you a better person. I've learned that challenges create the man. And if you don't challenge yourself and you continue to be comfortable, you will never get to the next level. And um, I've I, I've said to myself, no, that's not happening to me. I'm going to challenge myself, and I don't want any regretting on what I could have did and what I should have did. I'm going to fight the best, and I'm going to be my very best when I do it. And it's the mindset that I've had. It's the mindset that I've carried. When I take these fights, that's what I think about. When they called me for Anthony Durrell, it was about a little less than 4 weeks, about 3.5 weeks. They called me for that fight. It was during COVID. And Brad was like, I understand if you don't want to take this fight because this is 168. You never fought at 168, and the timing of it all. I just had COVID. What I mean, the timing of it all. And I said, give me an hour. And I thought about it, and the one thing I said to myself is, if I don't take this fight, um, who am I? Who am I? And I didn't want to be the person I would have been if I didn't take the fight.
Obviously, I know a lot about your career. Me being from Philadelphia, I actually broadcasted one of your fights when you fought at Harris Chester way back when. What was that? That'd be 8, 9 years ago, probably, if not not even further about that. Like you said, you were 10-0, and then you took a couple losses. I think you kind of relish being this underdog role that you've kind of had to take part in the last the handful of fights.
Yeah, I mean, I got to. I mean, it's what I am. I think it fits me sometimes. I gotta do what I gotta do, and I think I've embraced it. It is what it is, and I'm going to be B side until I'm A side. So it is what it is.
Last couple questions. I know not looking ahead, but this is a very heavy dominated card with guys in and around your weight class with Plant, who I know you share a camp with because this Breadman, he's with Plant. I know you've been involved with Breadman over the years, and he's fighting Resendez and Lamana fighting Charlo. Seems like a lot of 160, 168 kind of stuff going on this card. A big win on May the 31st. Could we see you in there with one of the winners? Or is that
Um,
what you would like to do?
um, I'm a 160 pounder. I don't plan on campaigning at 168 until I win a world title at 160, and then possibly, as my career progresses. But right now, I'm a 160 pounder. I don't have no intentions of fighting at 168. I never had. Let me make it clear. I've never had the intention to fight at 168. I've always been a 160 pounder. The reason I fought at 168 because the opportunities that was given to me and where I was in my career, I needed those opportunities to shine light onto me so that people know who I am, so that I can get these kind of fights and I can make things happen and my name can be talked about. When I took that Anthony Durrell fight, it was more so like I'm in the shadows. This is a tough fight, but you're capable. You've been in the ring with a lot of good fighters. You're capable. So people got to see you. If they don't see you and they don't talk about it, you can be. How many good fighters do we got in our city? How many good fighters we have all around that nobody ever knows? You have to put yourself in that arena. And I never wanted to fight at 168, but we took the opportunities, and I was when I fought Anthony Durrell at 168. I said, "Am I fighting it again?" And they gave me another quick TV fight that was like, "Oh, fight! Well, you beat this guy. This guy you can beat. You can be a main event on Fox Sports. You throw some money at." And then I'm like, "All right, let's all right. This is the position I'm in now. Let's do it. I guess is what I wanted." And then I'm like, "All right, I'm going back to 160." Like, all right, cool. We was thinking about we wanted I wanted the Adames fight, and then out of nowhere, they're like, "Yo, David Benavidez." They, they throw another opportunity out there. It's the biggest fight that I've ever could be in. How bigger does it get than that? I'm already been fighting at 168. Let's get it on. Let's do it.
Well,
And now that I've had control of my career again, and I'm in a position where I'm pretty known in the boxing world. I go to gyms, and people know who I am. I'm able to have more control about what I want to do, and I've been campaigning at 160, and I think that's why you've been seeing a good eh, um game. It seemed me at my best because now I don't got no short notices. Now I go fight, and when I fight, I know when I'm fighting before anybody. I know when I'm fighting, and I don't have any more fights I got to take last minute, and this shows in the preparation.
two more quick questions and a question I didn't plan on asking, but since you made the statement you just made, an obvious guy, should you win on May 31st under the PBC banner would be Laura. Is that kind of a guy that you'd be in? I mean, because with the four with four straight wins and two over undefeated guys, which would be Garcia and presumably Hernandez, if you can win this fight on May 31st, you should be right in line for a title shot. You believe that?
I mean, I could have gave him my a title fight after my last win. He was number one in the WBA. They was trying to get him to fight Laura, and he just messed up and fought the wrong guy. Uh, I can see it happening. I want it. I want it. You think I'm gonna fight Benavidez and turn down Laura? You think I'm going to turn down any guys in the middleweight division? That's champion. No, we'll fight Jenovic if that's a possibility. Well, I'll fight him. I'll fight him tomorrow. I'll fight Carlos Adames. We won't say no. Just send me the paperwork. Any of those guys, I'll fight.
And the only reason why I mentioned Laura because he's under the same
Yeah,
promotional banner and could
yeah.
you fight that easily made. So last question, what do you want to say to the fans in close before we see you May 31st taking on the undefeated Yoni Hernandez live on Amazon, PBC on Prime?
I think it's going to be a great fight. I think my opponent's going to come. I think he's going to come prepared, and I think that we're going to probably have the best fight of the night. I think our matchup is intriguing, and I think that you guys can expect an exciting fight with my hand being raised.
Well, thank you for a few minutes of time. We look forward to watching the fight live in Las Vegas, and we'll see you around the way.
I see.
Thank you.
We're back here on the Abrams Boxing Show with good interview with Kyrone Davis. Should be an interesting fight with him and Hernandez. Obviously, his fight with Garcia in his last fight showed that he's not a guy who's going to roll over in this fight. And Hernandez is the grizzled veteran, or not the grizzled veteran, but the up and coming youngster in this fight. So we should see what happens with this fight. The main two fights I just want to touch on really quick. If Charlo and Plant win, it looks like they could be heading towards a showdown in the fall to fight each other. They got a little bit of bad blood. There was a slap a couple years ago with Plant and Charlo, and Charlo against LaManna. LaManna, if he can take this fight into the later rounds, there's a chance to maybe win some rounds in there. Charlo hasn't fought in a couple years. I like Plant to easily outbox and maybe get Resendiz out of there late. Also, the fourth fight, I like, we didn't mention Isaac Lucero, 16-0, 12 knockouts, takes on Omar Valenzuela, 23-0, 20 knockouts. Night before in Las Vegas, a pretty good fight. Darius Fulgham, 14-0, 12 knockouts, takes on Bektamir Malakuziev. Speaking of super middleweights, and this is a super middleweight eliminator as well. So we got all kinds of stuff. We could see some guys be mixed and matched who are fighting in Vegas over the weekends. Well, this one was good weekends. You go to fight Friday night, go to fight Saturday night. So if you're out in Las Vegas and you're a boxing junkie, this is a weekend for you. Friday night in Guadalajara, Mexico on the zone. Manuel Gallegos, 21-2-1, 18 knockouts. Rematches Khalil, the Big Stepper Co., 9-1-1, 7 knockouts. This is a rematch of a fight that saw Gallegos score a ninth round stoppage over Co. Right down the road from where I'm sitting here in Philadelphia. So see if Co can get even, but this time he's going to travel to Gallegos' homeland in Mexico. Also on the card, Murajan Akhmadaliev, 13-1, 10 knockouts. He tunes up for a fall showdown with Naoya Inoue as he takes on Luis Castillo, 31-6, 20 knockouts. Couple news items this week. Hall of Fame promoter Don King won a purse bid to promote the WBA regular heavyweight championship between Kubrat Pulev and Michael Hunter. Looks like the fight will take place August 23rd with sites in Vegas, Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. In the running for this fight, $1.1 million was the purse bid win. 42-year-old former world champion Jean Pascal will fight Michael Selastic for the WBC Interim Cruiserweight Championship. That will be July 28th in Louisville, Connecticut. The winner will face Badu Jack, who recently got a close decision over Noel McCallion to successfully defend his world title. Also, that's it. I thought there was another news item. I scrolled down and there wasn't. So I'd like to thank Kyrone Davis for joining us this week and watch all the big fights this week. We'll preview everything going on for next week. Again, it's now starting after a couple slow weeks. Starting this week, there's going to be big fights almost every weekend, and we'll be here every weekend. And we're going to be doing some post-fight right after the fights are over. Give me 5-10 minutes. We're going to break it down. We're going to try to get some guests from the site. If I'm on site, I'm going to go live immediately after the decision or the hand is raised in the middle of the ring. So we'll be doing a lot of live post-fight stuff. So tune into the Abrams Boxing on YouTube, theboxinghour.com, 15rounds.com. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys next week.